Now, for more on the story, we're very pleased to be joined by Newsmax TV political analyst and prominent presidential strategist Dick Morris. Dick, of course, also the New York Times best-selling author of Armageddon: How Trump Can Beat Hillary. Dick, thanks for your time today on America Talks Live. And some pictures do have, some websites do have pictures of Hillary with what looks like some piece of electronic equipment underneath her clothing. And there's even a video out purporting to show hand signals between Hillary and Lester Holt. Dick, you know Mrs. Clinton pretty well. Tell me, is there anything she would not do to become president?
Oh, that one's easy. You don't need me for that. No, nothing she wouldn't do. But, you know, I was listening to the Donald Trump comments about Miss Universe, and I think that Trump missed a beat in the debate. He may call people names, but Hillary ruins their lives. Hillary got her two best friends, Betsy Wright and Diane Blair, to set up an operation called the Bimbo Patrol in 1992. And their job was to go around to every woman who Bill had ever been involved with, or ever been rumored to be involved with, and to get blackmail material on them to induce them to remain silent so that he could get elected president. And their victims included Kat Grayson, Dolly Kyle, eventually at a later time, Kathleen Willey, Paula Jones, Jennifer Flowers. When the story originally broke about Monica Lewinsky, they tried to portray her as a stalker who had the president in her sights. And the information was made public because Linda Tripp encouraged Monica to go public. Linda worked at the Defense Department, and suddenly her personnel file made it to New Yorker magazine, where it was published in full. A subsequent investigation revealed that the Clinton administration had in fact released her file, and the government was fined $500,000 for that. Hillary Clinton will do anything to besmirch and to belittle and to crucify women who are accurately telling the truth about her husband. Dolly Kyle once told me that Bill told her, "If you tell the truth about me, I'll tell lies about you." And the issue is not his infidelity or Hillary's knowing it or not knowing it, or was she smart enough to figure it out and that stuff. What's important here is that Hillary abuses women. She goes after them for their only sin being saying yes or sometimes no to her husband.
Let me turn to some poll numbers that indicate some problems for Hillary. The poll from Bloomberg Politics monitoring non-voters. Those are people not planning on voting this November. And those who are going to be no-shows, they say so already, more of them would have voted for Hillary than for Donald Trump. 38% of the no-shows in favor of Hillary, 27% for Donald Trump. How big of a problem would this be for Mrs. Clinton on Election Day, Dick?
Well, I think it's a big problem, but I think you're looking at the wrong end of the telescope. The issue is not so much that people are unenthusiastic about Hillary and will stay home, although that's true. The issue is that people who do not normally vote, high school educated whites largely, and normally stay out of the process, are now thronging into the electorate to vote for Trump. To give you a feel of how extensive this could be, if you take the final day's polling in every one of the primaries and you compare the vote share they predicted Donald would get with the vote share he actually got on the primary itself, it's a 5-point difference. 5 points were people who did not vote for him in the poll, but then turned out and voted for him in the election. That could be because they were embarrassed to say they were voting for him. More likely, they said they wouldn't vote, and then in the last few days before the election, changed their mind and decided he was worth voting for.
Your call's invited now at 1-877-NEWSMAX. That's 1-877-639-7629. So, Dick, that group you just talked about, is that the hidden Trump vote we've been hearing so much about?
Yes, it's what impelled him to victory in each of these primaries. Let me put it to you in an historical context. In 2004, Karl Rove and George Bush got 10 million new white voters to come out and vote for Trump. Then in 08 and 12, they still voted Republican, but they were overwhelmed by 10 million new, largely Black and Latino voters who came out and voted for Obama. Then in 2012, 10 million white voters stayed home, did not vote for Romney, would have voted for him, but didn't. They didn't like him, they didn't trust him, they thought he was too close to Wall Street, they were evangelicals who distrusted him. But one way or another, he had 10 million people who should have voted for him who stayed home. Trump's strength is his ability to get those 10 million people to vote. They used to be called the Reagan Democrats. They used to be called the silent majority. And now they're called Trump supporters.
All right. Something that he said on the stump yesterday in Council Bluffs, Iowa, we need to listen to. Here is what he told a huge crowd what they really need to know about Hillary Clinton. Let's look and listen.
Everything you need to know about Hillary Clinton can be understood with this simple phrase: follow the money.
Follow the money. And doubling back, at the outset, you talked about the controversy involving the former Miss Universe and what Hillary is capable of. Now we're getting reports today that payments to the computer consultants who worked on her email match up with tax deductions taken by the Clintons. My question is this: do you expect, whatever happens this election, that one day we're going to find that this so-called maligned former Miss Universe is on the payroll of the Clinton Foundation or some Clinton cronies to come forward with this attack on Donald Trump?
Yeah, I think it's very possible. I certainly do. And it's clearly orchestrated by the Clinton campaign. But on the other hand, I think the comeback by Juanita Broaddrick that Hillary shelters rapists, and by the 12-year-old girl whose rapist was let off with Hillary as his attorney, I think is very compelling counter-testimony.
Let's go to the phones right now, Dick, with the 2 minutes we have remaining in this segment, to Centerville, Virginia, where Ron is on the line. Ron, welcome to America Talks Live.
Hey, Ron,
Hi, sir.
how are you?
Appreciate it.
Go right ahead, Ron.
Yes, sir. Just a couple of comments. I watched your show for the last 30, 40 minutes. One issue is, and Mr. Morris might be able to explain it more clearly, why is it that most all the networks keep having liberals on the station, knowing that they're going to keep deflecting and saying the same thing and not focused on the meat of the issue as you do that?
Yeah. Well, I think the answer to that is that the media, the networks, and CNN and MSNBC feel it's their religious duty to defeat Donald Trump. I think they feel guilty because they gave him a lot of coverage during the primary, and they're determined now to elect Hillary. And they will go to any lengths, bias their programs, bend over in every direction they need to in order to accomplish that. Which is why that if you want to get a balanced picture, you need to go online, you need to look at Newsmax TV, and if you average it out, you probably get something approximating reality.
Let me double back to the first observation prompted by Rick's call yesterday. We understand that the alphabets are simpatico with the left. But would a guy like Lester Holt risk his career to take hand signals from Hillary? 30 seconds, Dick.
No.
Okay, that sums it up. But Steve Malzberg is going to have more on all of that tonight at 7 and again at 10 o'clock Eastern on the Steve Malzberg Show. Dick Morris, we very much appreciate your insights and analysis here on America Talks Live. So it'll be interesting to see what Steve has to say about the videos that are floating around and the different pictures from Monday night's debate. When we come back, Raoul Moss and Michael Patrick Flanagan will be here. And also, again, we can't stress this enough. If you wonder if we take your suggestions seriously, well, Look, Rick called in yesterday with a question, and we have followed up in a couple of ways, including tonight's in-depth report with Steve Malzberg. Your call's always welcome at 1-877-NEWSMAX. That's 1-877-639-7629. Again, Raul Mas and Michael Patrick Flanagan as we continue next on America Talks Live.